So 2024 sees Pharmig coming to India for our environmental monitoring best practices roadshow. So what can we expect this time around? So what you can expect is a masterclass in the fundamentals of the environmental monitoring program. Solid, practical and science and risk-based detail about the contamination control strategy. Examples of how to assess environmental monitoring methods for their suitability. How we can use risk assessment to enhance our environmental monitoring programs. How we can address environmental monitoring data deviations and use trend analysis to our advantage. Plus there'll be plenty of opportunities to speak to your expert panel, and there will be a special Q&A session looking at how to put together a contamination control strategy that is guaranteed to pass a regulatory inspection. So who's going to be speaking at Pharmig India 2024? We have David Keane, the chairman of Pharmig. We have Manish Bhatkar, and we have myself, Tim Sandle, and we were with you the entire day. Now, contamination can arise from a number of sources within the clean room, and there's various industry studies that have attempted to break that down. So if we go from bottom up, we have the transport of items into and out of clean areas. We have what might be residing on surfaces, and here we need to be careful that if we've put our gloved hand on one contaminated surface and moved somewhere else, then we could be transferring contamination from one place to another. And it's also important to consider that when we've disinfected a surface, that there is a little bit of residual activity, but effectively that surface can become recontaminated after it's been disinfected if the wrong thing goes onto it. Then we have air and ventilation, so as in terms of distributing contamination, air represents a reasonable vector for that. And then we have water, and water is a double problem because there are certain types of bacteria, the gram negatives, the water loving organisms that thrive in water and can grow. And also water is an effective vector of contamination, so it can be through droplets and aerosols, which is why we have to confine wash bays away from any critical processing, and why we can never have water on a floor. Anything that leaks has to be dried and cleaned immediately, and that leak addressed, and that kind of overrides anything else. But the biggest source of contamination is people. So first of all, disinfectants used in grade A and grade B areas must be sterile. So either they're introduced, say irradiated, or they are sterile filtered. There is also the option to fumigate periodically using something like hydrogen peroxide vapor, but this needs to be carefully controlled, it needs to be properly validated, and there's a lot of variables that can either make VHP work well or not work well, particularly humidity and in terms of mapping the space that is to be fumigated to ensure that every area is reached, and every area is reached for the specific contact time. And in this study I broke down the different contaminants into mains purified water and water for injections. Now mains water is that water provided by the utility company, a drinking water standard, and this water is supplied chlorinated, and then the pharmaceutical plant would proceed to remove the chlorine and soften that water through demineralization. The purified water was water produced by reverse osmosis, so it's using semi-permeable membranes with a substantial pressure, and the WFI was produced by distillation. There were relatively high levels of Pseudomonas fluorescens, which can grow at ambient and lower temperatures. So if you're interested in coming along to Pharmig India 2024, there are 3 ways to register. You can go online to the Biotrains website, that's microbiology.biotrains.com. You can email Rachna at that email address, or you can use one of those two telephone numbers. If you're elsewhere in the world, in the UK in particular, or within Europe, and you wish to come along as well, then we're more than happy to welcome you. Please email the Pharmig office, so that's maxine@pharmig.org.uk. Okay, so I hope to see you there. It'd be great fun to meet you. That's Pharmig India 2024.